Hi, this is Michael Waits, and welcome back to India Game Changer. We are joined today by Taufiq Khan, the founder of Wolf Bread. Did I get all that right?
Awesome. Yep.
So I've been watching you set up for the last 5 minutes, and I'm just intrigued by, I'd love to be there and see what your setup looks like because it seems very complicated. Anyway, thank you so much for coming to the show. I really appreciate your time. Let's give our audience a little bit of your background just for some context.
Yep. Thanks for having me, Michael. I mean, it's a pleasure. It's my debut podcast, and this is the first time I've done a couple of interviews, but nothing like this set up. And, I wanted to give you my best.
Thank you.
I have a media company. I mean, it's called Wolf Bread. I mean, we started in 2023, and we started off as a multimedia company. I was not sure where it's going to go. I mean, right now where we are, I mean, it was just intended to start my background is as a filmmaker. I have pursued filmmaking for a couple of years. I've made a lot of short films before I started my company. And I think it was time when I felt that, whatever product I'm making, I was always making for someone else. I was never making for myself. And I realized that I did not know what was entrepreneurship or what was how to start a company. I did not know. I was good at making product. I was good at writing, good at creativity, but, not the other side of it, not the business side of it. And when I saw my first film going to Cannes Film Festival, and then later it got picked up by Disney Plus Hotstar, my first short film. And that's when I realized my potential. And I felt like, I'm making everything and I'm not enjoying the perks of it, and everyone used to celebrate. And I was just like, congratulations, your film has been in Cannes, it's been picked up. And I'm like, yeah, I'm happy, but I don't know what to do next, what comes ahead. And then I realized, there was a digital media boom, YouTube content was going up. There was a lot of content creation was happening. And I'm talking 2018, 2019. I thought of this something like a wolf bread kind of a thing. There was no name, nothing. And we just thought of, there is something that I want to do, like something I like an alternate version of me. You can say like an alter ego of myself, just like an alternate version. And we came up with this idea of that, I want to make videos or music videos, and I want to do everything like an art collective that makes wolf bread as an ecosystem. And we started working on it in 2020. And that's where we realized, the pandemic happened. Again, Wolfbread never came into fruition. 2 years went by. I thought 2023 is the right time. I worked on a very crazy project. I released that project in 2023 just to see, and it's my first product coming straight up out of my company. We received a phenomenal response after that. I mean, then
what was that? What was that product?
It was a music video. It was a music video, and it was a music video. The reason I did a music video for the fact that music video industry was booming. There was a lot of Taylor Swift and Justin Bieber's dropping great music, and I felt like I wanted to bring a global pop culture experience to India. And I felt that, that these kind of stuff I'm not able to see. And I am inspired by these content. I like these things. And I come from a filmmaking background. And back then there was only Netflix and, big movie production houses. And to get into those production houses, it was very difficult. After serve 20 years, 15 years, I was hearing all these news. And then I've also worked as an assistant. It was a very vague kind of journey for me, which I will reflect later in the podcast. However, then I released this music video. I introduced a very new form of visuals, Michael. Like it was something like it's before AI revolution or the AI craziness that's going on right now. I introduced a form of computer generated images, and I introduced a style of simulations, water simulations, colors, and yeah.
Can I ask you this? So this music video that you did, was it your music? Was it somebody else's music? Was it a compilation? Was it an Indian star's music? Was it what did it entail?
So that's a very great question. So I collaborated with one of my closest friend who I used to share my playlist with, who I used to work and also who has worked on my previous movies. So he said that I'm coming up with a very new music which someone has never heard. And I'm like, I'm going to make visuals for you that's nobody has ever seen it. And it was, and I think that was like one of the best collaboration. And of course, we had a lot of known vocalists, male vocalists and female vocalists, Anjali Sivaraman, who was also was a band member of a very famous band. I can't recollect, but yeah, we brought all of them, and he was making very fresh sound, Michael. Back then, it was I mean, we can play it later or we can stream it for
Yeah.
people. And then again, he said, Tawfiq, I'm doing something very crazy. The output of visuals has to be very crazy. I'm like, I'm going crazy, something India has never seen. I mean, if you want to go down that road, I'm in, because this visual side is all mine. And we went and we executed. It took me almost a year and a half, Michael, to.
What kind of like tools and team and creative process do you have to be able to take what's relatively new music, as you explained it? And I'd love to get a link to this so we can put it in the show notes so people can see.
Definitely.
We'll do that afterwards. But like, and what are the tools that you use to be able to then produce these visuals in collaboration with this new style of music that's being done?
I mean, creativity is something I love, and I feel like I'll just give you a precursor how I work. Like, I'm like a kid, Michael. I'm like a child with an imagination, and I think very much in 3-dimensional in colors. I see, like, everything. So for me to write any script, I think and I go into that like a meditative state, like shut my eyes and think visuals. And it's like, if you're talking about an apple, I'm already thinking different styles of apple in my head that I can present it to you in a form of visual. So I used to think like that. And when he gave me the piece of music, I wrote a very intriguing, surreal script. When he saw the script, he's like, how the hell are we going to execute this? I'm like, we don't know, but I'm going to do it. I mean, this is my first project. I'm going to come up with my company. I didn't know what is going to be the name. And I'm like, this is going to be the kickstart. This is going to be the launch project. This is going to be a showcase to what Wolf or what Tawfiq can do. That time it was just me. There was no name. And I'm like, I cannot just have myself. I need to create an entity that represents myself. And then again, we went on, and I had the filmmaking skills, Michael. I had 3 years of making films. I had made a lot of short films before that. So, I was in the process of it. So we went on and we recruited, we spoke to a lot of people on the way. We spoke to a lot of independent artists, just to help us. We went for a lot of favors because, I did not have much bread to break it. I was very limited, and I had to be very smart in terms of financing this whole thing. But again, we went out and we executed it. This was almost 200 people on the day of the set. And I'm talking there were different setup happening right then. People were asking, what setup is this? Like, who's doing this? Is this like a big? I'm like, there's no name of the production right now. And this
and who's paying for it?
I mean, I was just, I kind of figured a way out of it. I mean, I was doing it through bootstrap. This whole company is bootstrap. There is no funding happening right there. I mean, just grinding and figuring a way out of it. I mean, just running behind a vision, Michael. I think that money just follows, I think, later in your process. I feel once you just go to that vision, I think that's what I've realized with Wolf. Until now, I mean, I'm just doing the same thing, but now it's in a very different situation and different setup.
And do you try to use new tech to do this too?
Definitely.
Right? Like I mentioned, or I think I was talking to somebody earlier today about, if I want to learn something new about video editing, I'll just go to YouTube and look up Premiere Pro. And that's kind of what I use to do my video production stuff. But it sounds like what you're doing is way more complicated than that. And I'm just curious, like, something that, at least this music video they did that had 200 people involved in it, it must have been a very complex setup and execution.
Michael,
yeah.
Yes, as I said, Michael, there was no AI. There was nothing like I could go and chat GPT that thing. There was nothing like that. I'm serious. And I was I was just seeing I was inspired by these popular artists called Drake or Taylor Swift or ASAP Rocky, and I was seeing how are they executing. How are they doing? And I'm like, we can do it. It's just that I need a right team, and I struggled. As I said, this whole process took almost 24 months to complete it. It was not easy. A lot of rejections. A lot of studios said we cannot do this. A lot of different budgets came in, and I just figured a way out of it. And a lot of new technology was used. As I said, computer generated images we use, and we did a lot of 3D animation, and all of this was involved before AI. We were even the studios were figuring out, even they hadn't done anything like it. And I'm talking about studios who have worked on films like Gravity, John Wick films, and this LA based company that I hired for my project. And I told them, this is a vision I'm executing. The financial side, we have to like slowly get into it, but just trust me, this is going to blow the thing off, and you're going to be part of something very big. And I'm talking 2020 early, pre-pandemic. And Michael, when I shot this video, there was a announcement from WHO that there's an epidemic and the world's gonna shut. And
Yeah,
it
what a
was
nightmare.
middle of my shoot, and I had to shut everything. There you go, and I don't know where to go now. I mean, there was another journey that I had to go through, and all my actors, everyone flew back to their country. I had a Russian actress, I had someone from different state. Everyone flew back, and nobody returned. And even if I wanted them to return, they did not look the same. The kind of shots I shot with them, I'm like, where do I go now? And I think God bless technology. I mean, then I went on that road of creating a computer generated images of them, and just creating like an AI, not like avatars, like, avatar kind of things, like, and there was nothing like it. We did not have any AI tools to go through. We just had those traditional softwares, and we worked on it day in, day out, figuring a way out of it. I executed the video, I executed the vision that I wanted, and took again, like that whole process took a lot of time.
Can't
2023.
wait to see it. I cannot wait to see it.
You should.
So, how do you balance this idea where you talked a lot before about imagination?
Yep.
That like you just close your eyes and you can see things. Maybe, and some look really creative people can see the world in a way that most other people can't see it. I mean, that's a kind of a basic definition of what creativity is, right?
True.
Is that I can take normal things and turn them into things that are abnormal in a way that nobody else could have imagined. But like this balance between how to use your imagination to create artwork, but also to kind of shoehorn it into entrepreneurship. Like, how do all those things get balanced together? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. And I can answer this very smoothly. The thing is, the practice was a big part. Like, as I said, my previous experience was making a lot of short films, and all these short films were made by just shutting my eyes and thinking about them and going out in execution. I made a lot of mistakes in execution. Sometimes the vision did not come the way I wanted it to come. Sometimes I lost the plot. Sometimes, but I was very sure that what I'm seeing can be executed with the right format. I was not just good in imagination, Michael. I've always been good practically. I also understood the reality of it, that the world doesn't function the way you imagine it. So, but your imagination is definitely true, but you also have to, follow the rules of this reality to turn that into imagination, as a reality, as a vision. And I think that's why we have, the greatest, like, Steve Jobs or and Kanye West and many artists that I admire, because I feel I resonate with them because they see something that we cannot, and they go out and execute that. And I just realized from studying the greats, because they never leave their imagination, but they also follow the rules of reality. They understand the practicality of it. And I think I have become, I just practice, Michael. I think it is possible to execute a vision. And I think then, now coming back to your entrepreneurship, like, how do I turn that into a business? Yeah, no, I feel like, making an art is definitely an art, but selling your art is also an art. So I feel that again, we had to go through that whole process of understanding, how do we sell this thing now? Okay, now I made a music video, Michael, and everyone is enjoying and everything. I'm doing these pop-up events and people are coming. There's a celebration in the city. I'm liking it. What's next? Taufiq?
Right.
Video's out. Everyone knows what Wolfbread is. I did a very good lead up to the music video. I kind of did a very animated kind of a lead up, like there was animated characters coming in my, digital media post promoting the brand and stuff. So people were asking also, what is this wolf prayer and what is happening? I'm like, it's something, you have to wait for it. Let's just, I kind of, gave them that journey, that imaginative journey that I'm talking about. You can go on my socials and go right down to the first post and see how we build up. Everything was it's like an animated imagination that I was pulling it up, and people were enjoying it. But as we did, people started resonating it, and then we start getting calls, Michael. We start getting calls that they want to do events with us, they want to do pop-up with us. We start getting calls from big brands like Forever New and stuff. They want to do animation with us, they want to do a lot of things like that. I'm like, I cannot say no now. I mean, this is something, but I don't
But isn't
want.
that what you wanted?
Exactly. I want that. I want that. See, I'll just tell you. So I said, now Wolf Bread is not something was initiated to serve projects for others. We wanted to create our own projects. But then what happened then, if we are getting calls from different industries, and animation was something I was fascinated. It's not like I'm showing something which I don't resonate. And I'm like, this is a good thing. I'm also going to be getting paid for something I like to do, but it's just going to be a project for others. Then that's why we started Wolfbird Animation Studios, which has just been 9 months right now. It's a subsidiary company. It's been a year and a half for Wolfbird to start it, another 9 months for Wolfbird Animation Studio that we have started. And now that company has a lot to offer than Wolfware, because we have so many clients right now that we serve. And again, we are creating projects and products that they are enjoying, and that's a piece of our imagination now. So I mean, it's just a different reality. It's same, but now it's a balance between both now, Michael.
What's the big goal, right? If I said to you, like, have you ever heard of Disney? You would say yes. I mean, you and your sister would have heard of it, and your grandmother would have heard. Everybody you know has heard of Disney. And if I asked you, have you heard of the BBC? You'd say yes. And everybody you know has. They may not watch it, they may not read its content or whatever, but they've all heard of it. And if I asked you about Al Jazeera, you would know that too. But there's no Asian media company in the world that everybody knows about.
True.
And that's not to say, look, Bollywood is gigantic. It's mostly domestic. But I'm just saying, like, as big as it is, the names of those companies aren't known globally. So I see a massive gap in the market. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to create an Asian media company that the rest of the world knows about. And when they think about media in Asia, they think about undercover media. So what are you trying to create? Because having an animation studio is great. Some of the commercials I see that you're filming are super cool. I love the name Wolfbread. I really want to get a copy of this music video that you made because it sounds kind of fantastical. And I want to see it actually in practice. And if it took 2 years to make, it must be insanely great. But what's the big goal? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. I mean, and the answer lies in the question. I think I want to break that bubble, Michael. I want to That's why if you see on everything that we put, like, on our LinkedIn page, we are a global multimedia company focused on worldwide global entertainment. We never say that, our content is just for so and so people. And that's why, I study the greats and the names I also I took, it's always, I want to break that market, the bubble that you're talking, the big gap. I want to be the next Disney. I want to be the next Marvel. And I have screamed that in publications and editing. And I'm saying that might take 5 years, 10 years, but this is the start. And I think if there is anyone who could do it, I would love to do it, because I'm introducing a style of media that not only resonating with Indian audience, but I'm glad that I'm talking to you right now, Michael. We are breaking boundaries. We are breaking boundaries, and I'm here right now. This wasn't possible for me in 2019, 2018. I was just a kid with an imagination, and I have executed so much right now. And I'm explaining this to you. I'm just honored. This shows that the potential that we will be breaking boundaries in the next couple of months, because I'm coming up with my own clothing line as well, Michael. This is also one of the reasons to set ourselves on the global market.
What kind of stories do you want to tell?
That nothing is impossible.
No, but I mean, in general, right?
What I'm seeing is I'm not seeing around here. What I'm seeing inside myself, what I see inside my head, that the vision that I have for Wolfbed, I don't see it anywhere around in India. To an extent, you can say, like, I'm trying to be the next Nike or the next Marvel or the next Apple or the next Disney. And
it's a big goal.
It's a very big goal. And we are 1 year old. We are a baby right now. And that's why, you see, or the next Red Bull, that's why you see, the music video, the animation, brand collaboration, having a chat with you completely across the border, coming out with a clothing line, setting that whole stage. Now, the reason the clothing line is coming in the picture, Michael, is because, we have a community right now, and I want to offer them something that they can wear and live. I want to make it tangible. I want to make Wolfbread tangible right now. I have done so many events. I have branded the company so much. I have spoken about it. I've showcased them. I've shown filmmakers that it's not just you have to just make films. How can you turn an art into business? And I'm on an entrepreneurial journey right now, Michael. Of course, the art side, I don't say I have mastered it, but I don't need to. It won't take time for me to just switch that button from entrepreneurship to make an art, So
how do you think about partnerships, at least at the beginning, right? You mentioned this thing that you said, we're just a baby company. We're a year old. Let's call it 2 years old. It doesn't really matter. But then how do you foster the right partnerships. And let me give you an example. Like when Netflix first started, they had none of their own content, right?
True.
And all they did was they went out to the big movie studios and said, "Hey, we want to do this thing. Can we just stream it on our platform?" And they were like, "Look, it's like the Lithuanian army. We're not afraid of them. They're so tiny. They're never going to be anything." And now Netflix has over 100 million subscribers. Most of the content on their platform is stuff that they produce, and they probably spend $9 to $11 billion a year producing content, right? So, but what they did first was they kind of leaned on the existing companies to be able to take advantage of their content catalogs, to be able to let themselves grow faster. And I'm curious if you have a view on that as a strategy. Do you know what I mean? To then figure out a way to partner with some existing people, whoever they are, to grow faster than you might if just growing on your own.
Absolutely. The power of collaboration you cannot beat. I mean, my career boomed when I, like, you can say, like, when I showcased my film at Cannes Film Festival. It was not a direct collaboration, but I had a platform to showcase my film. Then again, Disney Hotstar approaching us to purchase our film, and then my name growing faster from there. So definitely the power of collaboration cannot beat that. And I think Wolfbread, if there is anything that Wolfbread has ever found success in their journey or in their path, it's through collaboration, Michael. I wouldn't be here without any collaboration. If it's this podcast or the clothing thing that we are doing right now, or we are whatever. I'm not going to tell you a lot of things, but the clothing which is yet to be launched, but we are having some crazy collaborations, Michael. We are having some crazy collaborations.
Come on, tell me one crazy thing you're going to collaborate with.
I'm collaborating with a very popular international artist on my clothing line. That is something.
Really?
Yes. And we are planning to bring him down. It's going to be a visual show.
When is it going to happen?
It's, I think, later March. I think March end is something. The dates. I mean, this is the first place I'm going to be dropping the timings and dates. I've not said that. But
I'm just curious.
Okay, the fact it's I'm dropping my clothing line, Michael. I'll just give you a small piece of content that is about to be executed. I mean, from the larger picture.
Go for it.
Yeah. It's the whole event is going to be called a visual show, a Wolfbread visual show. And when you hear a visual show, because Michael, we are known as a visual company. We love visuals. We love showcasing, and visuals now is going to be presented on the t-shirts and the shirts and the clothing line that we are kind of building up with its merchandise, with whatever we are making, the rugs, everything. Like, we are working on a lot of things. We are also working on a food and beverage side of it. There's a lot of things in the pipeline. I mean, we are almost till 2026. We have a lot of plans.
How would you characterize the style of your clothing? Like, is it ski wear? Is it beach wear? Is it resort wear? Like, what is it? Or is it just everyday clothes that are just going to be super cool?
I think it's going to be super cool. It's for everyone who loves wearing good clothes, quality wise, design wise. It's going to be Wolfbread clothes, Wolfbreadish, I can say. When you see us, you have to resonate. That's what I think a good way to show our brand, that you should, like, I don't know what you think of us, like when you think of the name, or when you visit our profile, or when you just have a chat with me. I want a very authentic experience, even in wearing clothes. It's not like I'm trying to show you something, Michael, and I'm speaking something, and when you have a touch of my cloth, or you just hold it, you feel something else. I don't want that whole differentiation. It's just, I want to, when you hold my clothes, you should be like, okay, I'm speaking to Taufiq directly now.
I want to share something with you, and then I want to get your opinion on it. I think it was in 2017 or 16. I can't remember when it was, but I went to this big event in Korea. It was a startup event. And Masayoshi Son, right, who's the founder and the head of SoftBank, his like right-hand man, whose name I cannot remember, Ken something, was speaking on stage. And he said, when SoftBank was first started by Masayoshi Son, and this is probably 30 years ago, he stood up on a crate, like an orange crate, and there were like 10 people in the room. And he said to all of them, look, we're going to build a multi-billion-dollar company here, and we just want to work with serious people. And he was just giving this speech. It sounded insane because he had nothing at the time. And like seven of the people left. They're just like, this guy is insane. But the 3 people that stayed all became billionaires.
Wow.
Because they actually built SoftBank into a gigantic company and a powerhouse. Wow. Do you get the sense, though? How old are you?
I'm 30 right now. I'm going to be
30.
I'm going to be 31. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Do you get the sense that when you tell people what the vision is for Wolfbread, that they think you're just insane, and yet you just go out and execute it anyway, regardless?
I mean, see, I mean, as a multi-billion-dollar company, are you talking like since you give the SoftBank opinion, like, or
But only
just
because you don't know where it's going to go, and you're doing clothing, you're doing music videos, you're trying to build a media, like all this stuff that you're doing a bunch of different things all at the same time. Like if this stuff actually works, it could be huge.
Yeah, it could be. I've already seen the end goal, Michael. I'm already in 2030 in my head, but I'm in 2025 right now.
Got it.
Because
Yeah,
I
I know the
have to
feeling.
be ahead of time. I cannot be behind. I have to think ahead, and any entrepreneur, they have to see 5 years or 10 years down the line, and
Exactly.
then throughout the journey just take risk. Failures, what can I go through apart from like
nothing.
failing? Like what's going to happen? I'm just going to have to get up and start again, and it's very difficult to stop a man who's extremely passionate, Michael, who really loves what he does. And
it's also almost impossible to stop somebody who has no downside.
True. I mean, definitely. And
it's hard to beat somebody, Taufiq, who's afraid of losing. I mean, who's not afraid of losing, right?
True.
This is the biggest problem, I think, with most people, is that they're not trying to win. They're trying not to lose. And if you spend your entire life trying not to lose, the only thing you're going to be doing is losing. And you guarantee yourself that you're not going to be winning.
True. Yeah? I have had tremendous losses, Michael, throughout the journey.
For sure.
It's just that you've not seen it. It's just that you've not seen it, and I don't.
Well, you're not moaning about it either. Yeah, I think that's another big problem that a lot of entrepreneurs have. They're so just moaning about like, oh, this is so hard.
No. I mean, you talk about, facing this podcast. I mean, I have had a lot of glitches coming just executing this. Like I'm having a proper studio setup, and sometimes I felt like, why am I doing it? But just part of the journey. This is what I do. I love to execute. I love to execute, and throughout the journey, Michael, I fail a lot of times.
I have this theory that like, great leaders don't think about leadership. Do you know what I mean?
I get it.
Where the people that are around them spend a lot of time saying like, oh, great leadership should look like X, Y, and Z. And a great leader just goes out and executes things and somehow figures out a way to convince people that the path that they are choosing, the path upon which they're executing, is the right path. Like, how do you do that? I asked you before, and I think we were joking about it. Like, how many people do you have helping you set up? You're like, I don't know, like 25. I'm exaggerating a little bit. I'm exaggerating, but you understand the point. But they're all there just doing what you say. How do you, like, how would you characterize your leadership style? Because to be able to get that level of leadership, particularly at your age, it's not normal.
Yep.
How do you think about it?
I don't think so. You have to think of the word leadership when you're just working towards it. Just first of all, you have a goal in mind. You know what you're going to execute. You're going to hire the best minds to execute with you. It's like a sports team, Michael. See us as a sports team. I'm the coach right now. I'm hiring the best 10 football or soccer players to win the matches. That's it. And in between, we find injuries. We find people not coping up with the thing. We have recruitments. That's how I see it. We win, we lose. What matters is we are still a great team that pursue. And throughout the journey, sometimes we win cups, sometimes we lose. That's not the case. You don't stop supporting those teams, right? You still love them. I mean, and I feel every beautiful team excels after falling down. I mean, there's a good percentage, there's a good ratio that every fighter that gets knocked out in the first round almost goes out and wins the match or wins that fight. It's how I see myself. I see us as like like an athlete or like a fighter or like a sports team. We are on a mission. We're on a mission, and whoever wants to join, they can join. Whoever wants to leave, they can leave. But the vision stays the same, and that's how you can say that okay, you're a good leader. But what I'm doing is I'm just taking people along with me to the vision. I've already seen it, and they are able to see it right now with me.
And I guess that's the point I was trying to make, is that there's all this conversation about like what it takes to be a great leader. And I think it really just means having a vision, executing against that vision, and just convincing people that the vision that you've created is the right one. And people will, I think, by definition, just want to go along that ride with you.
Definitely.
Because it's going to be a great ride. As you said, for better or for worse.
Yes. I mean, as I said, Michael, I want to be, as I said, like when we say like we want to be the next Disney, I want to have my own theme parks, Michael. I want to have Wolfbread theme parks by the next 10 years. I've come from Tokyo like a week back, Michael, and I've blown away by that city. I've blown away by Japan. I have never felt so surreal coming from a country. I've traveled all over the world, been
it's
Europe.
amazing.
I don't know.
Were you in Tokyo?
I was in 3 cities. I was in Osaka, I was in Kyoto, and then I was in Tokyo for like almost like 10 nights.
I went to college in Kyoto.
Oh wow, what a beautiful city,
Yeah,
Michael.
changed my life.
I swear, I'm sure, I would love to know, I don't know, that's going to be a way longer chat because I've never been inspired, Michael, from a country this much. I swear, I mean, shout out Japan. I love that city, and I say that, I want to be the ecosystem, that whole, the culture, the tradition, from modernization to tradition, the way they are possessing, and everyone's on a goal. Everyone is so nationalist, they love their country so much, and I just love that, and they're proud of it, and I was seeing that as a product, Michael. I was seeing Japan as a product, like the whole thing. Imagine, you have something like Japan. If it's a small thing, I'm talking in a very different manner, like an ecosystem. Maybe you build a phone, or you build a company that has, the likes of something very great, like, Dubai or Japan. I see them as a brand, Michael. I don't see them as countries. They are.
It's a weird thing, but you're probably right.
Yeah,
it feels more like an
it
ecosystem.
feels like an ecosystem. It's the
does.
synergy. You step outside, everything is connected to everything. The mindset, the people execution. I mean, it's just crazy. It's like I've seen the whole world right now. It's like such a psychedelic experience. Like, I've just come to Japan, and my whole perception towards life has changed. And I'm like, what do I do now? Like, I have a company, and what do? I'm seeing something way more greater than what I thought of this city. How so? Yeah, I mean, this is what I feel. Inspiration and aspiring to become something like these countries or cities. I take inspiration from everywhere, Michael. Something that's huge, something that's gigantic, that makes my vision extended. I like an extension vision.
So I think, and I'll leave you with this, and then I'll let you go. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I hopefully this is not our last conversation.
Sure.
But I'll leave you with this. If you think of wolf bread like you think of Japan, where if you just go across Japan and all the things that you think of and consider as Japanese, there's a consistency there that if I show you a Japanese cake, you'll know it's from Japan.
Yep.
If I show you a Japanese piece of clothing, you'll know it's from Japan. Even if it's not like a kimono, but you'll know because of the way it's made and the quality that it has. If I show you another kind of food, you'll know it's Japanese. If I show you the cars, you'll know they're Japanese. Think of wolf bread the same way, right? In the same sense of when you see something that you've created in your entity, you want people to think wolf bread as opposed to animation video, or you want them to think wolf bread as opposed to clothing, and you want them to think wolf bread as opposed to a movie. And if you do that, that's when you really start succeeding, because now you're not making individual products.
Yep. Right? The digital products, you can say, we're just making projects and ad campaigns that has animation in it. The first product is going to be the clothing product, Michael. That's where, as I said, we are kickstarting in March, and I cannot wait to showcase that. And to answer your question, Michael, if I'm getting inspired from that beautiful country, I mean, when they hold something, I would say I'll take the honesty and authenticity.
Authenticity for sure.
Yeah. And honesty as well. I and when I'm saying honesty, I'm saying the crafting side of it, being.
I understand.
Not saying.
Not telling the truth. Yeah, I get it. There is an honesty of the product creation in Japan.
Yes.
And that's the authenticity. And I think you're 100% right. And that's what I mean. So when I do my stuff, I want people to think of not me per se, but I want them to know that it's coming from us. I want them to be able to look at any one of the things that we produce and think, that's definitely coming from Undercover Media. It has to, because nobody else could do this thing.
Yeah. And
anyway,
I mean, I get it. And that's, Michael, this is how you serve your soul or your purpose in this life. Life is too short. I mean, your life on earth definitely has to have, when people say, what is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of that? And I feel if it's a baby, or if it's like a 60-year-old man, I would say just be honest and be truthful to whatever you do. And I feel you'll just be supported by this beautiful universe. And I think regardless whatever the external outcomes are, whatever the external factors are, just be true to your craft, whatever you're doing, even if it's making a chair, or even if you're just rolling a carpet or getting it perfectly done. Just make sure you do it correctly, and from there onwards, people will recognize, the world will recognize, and everything will be in synergy. And that's what I believe. This is because that's the story of my life, or that's the story of Wolf Bread. We are thinking big, but the journey we have faced is all through honesty. We've always shown something, that what we have spoken of, we've not like said something and delivered something. And that's what you're going to see with the clothing line.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see it. Taufiq Khan, the founder of Wolf Bread.
Thank you so much.
Let's have you back.
Definitely, Michael. I mean, it's up to you when you want to call me. I mean, it would be better, like, maybe we once we launch the clothing and once we have more avenues,
Definitely.
I would love to talk to you more in detail. I still feel, I don't know how much time this has been. It was so, like, it felt like everything just flew by so quickly. I would love to, talk and share a lot. And of course, like, get into the depths of it for sure.
Thank you, man.